Parshas Vayikra, Tafshin Pei Hey. So now we are in Chodesh Nisan. We're about a week away from Pesach. Unbelievable. And we have so much to do, so much to prepare, so much to talk about. So we're going to spend this week. I'm going to try to do this week's shir and next week's shir, Emir Hashem, more about Pesach, so we could have something to bring us into the Yom Tov, some things to think about, to contemplate, to work on before we get to the Yom Tov of Pesach. And really, like we mentioned, it's just a little more than a week until Yom Tov. And what we always say from the Nesivos Shalom is that the more we study about and the more we prepare for a Yom Tov, the better off we are, the more we're going to be able to take out and to gain from the Yom Tov of Pesach. And really, it requires preparation, and not just learning the Torah for Pesach, but also to prepare yourself mentally, spiritually, to understand what it is. And there are so many different facets and factors and different approaches to the Yom Tov of Pesach, and it's kedai to touch on a few of them that the Nesivos Shalom speaks about. And there's a piyut that we say at the end of the Haggadah, B'roish kol mayados niseisa Pesach. And basically what it's telling us is that Pesach, the Yom Tov of Pesach, is the roish of the mayados, the head of the mayados. In other words, when we say something is the head, it means that all the other Yomim Tovim are getting their hashpah from Pesach. It all begins, there's something about Pesach, and it all begins from the Yom Tov of Pesach. That Pesach is like the head, and the rest of the body, as we know, follows the head. The head is mashpia. We get things and we take things, and we're influenced by beginning with the head as much as it is the same by people, so too it is by other things, including, says the Nesivos Shalom, including the Yomim Tovim. B'roish kol mayados. And that's how we refer to Pesach. And the Nesivos Shalom says that this Yom Tov that's coming up, we call it Pesach. Even though Pesach is really something that just happened leading up to the Yom Tov, it happened to the Yom Tov, and the Torah really calls this Yom Tov Chag HaMatzos, the Yom Tov of Matzos, but we call it Pesach because Pesach lets us know the essence of this Yom Tov. It lets us know what this Yom Tov really is. And what is it? It's a Yom Tov of Pesach. It's a Yom Tov of skipping over. And of course, we're going to have to explain what that means. What does it mean? It's a Yom Tov of skipping over. Yes, it's a Yom Tov of skipping over. The Ari HaKadosh says that really it was impossible that there should have been a Geula at the time of Geulas Mitzrayim. It's impossible. We were not Klal Yisrael, the Bnei Yisrael. We were not in a good place at that time. There was Avodah Zarah all over the place, and really we were seemingly very non-deserving of a Geula. Yet, when the time for Geula came, Hashem was posach. Hashem skipped over, jumped over, skipped over. What? Hashem skipped over all the formalities and the normal derech of how things would go, that first you have to earn something. When you earn it, that's when you get it. Hashem said, no, the time for the Geula had come, and we skipped over all the formalities and all the in-between steps, and Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim with all our deficiencies at that time. On that night of Pesach, Hashem, not only did he take us out, but Hashem took out all the great lights, the lights of Geula, the lights of the Or HaGanuz, all the great lights, Hashem took them out for us. And there was such overwhelming light at that time when Hashem took us out that the Satan could not do anything. The Satan was overwhelmed by the amount of light that Hashem was providing for Klal Yisrael at that time, with all of our problems, with all of our deficiencies, and at the time when clearly Klal Yisrael did not seemingly deserve Geula, but yet Hashem said it's the time for the Geula. He skipped over everything, and we were overwhelmed with that light. And with that, we had a Geula, overwhelming light from Hashem, chesed from Hashem. Totally didn't deserve it, but Hashem said Pesach. I'm skipping over. And the Medrash in Shir Hashirim Rabbah tells us that when Moshe Rabbeinu told Klal Yisrael, the first thing that Moshe Rabbeinu was coming to Klal Yisrael with a message, HaKadosh Baruch Hu instructed Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu comes to Klal Yisrael and says that in this month, in the month of Nisan, there is going to be a Geula. So Klal Yisrael right away asked, how is that possible? The entire Mitzrayim is full of Avodah Zarah, and it's full of our Avodah Zarah, they said. How is it possible? Moshe Rabbeinu, are you sure you know what you're saying? Are you sure you're repeating to us what Hashem told you, that we're going to have a Geula? Where every one of the people are worshiping Avodah Zarah at this time. And as we know, the Midas Hadin asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu at that time, what's going on here? Why are the Mitzrim going to get punished so severely at this time? And Klal Yisrael is going to go out of Mitzrayim. They asked, what's the difference between the Mitzrim and Klal Yisrael? Halalu, v'halalu, oivdei avodah zarah. This nation, Klal Yisrael, is worshiping Avodah Zarah. The Mitzrim are worshiping Avodah Zarah. So in that regard, why does one deserve to be punished so severely and the other one gets a Geula? What's going on here? They're both worshiping Avodah Zarah. So Moshe Rabbeinu told the Bnei Yisrael, let me tell you how this works. And this is such an important lesson for every one of us to know when we come to Pesach, because the hashpois of that time that came around during Pesach are here every single year. At the time of Pesach, they're here for every single one of us, and they're here to teach us a tremendous lesson. And Moshe Rabbeinu told Klal Yisrael as follows, that when Hashem decides something, when Hashem decides that it's time for Geula, He does not look, kaviyachal, Hashem does not look at anything else, not even Avodah Zarah. And that is what we call dilug. Dilug means that we as human beings think that we know the order of the world, and the order of the world has certain steps. Things have to go in a certain order. As human beings, the way we interact with each other, if someone is good to us, we go to this point. If someone is not so good to us, so we backtrack. I'm not going to do you so many favors. I'm not going to feel good about you. I'm not going to be look at your schusim, right? But the better somebody is to you, the more you're willing to do for them. And that's the order, human nature, and the seeming order of the world when people interact with each other. Moshe Rabbeinu was telling Klal Yisrael, telling the Bnei Yisrael, I want you to know that with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's not that way. HaKadosh Baruch Hu can work b'dilug, where He skips over. He skips Pesach. That's the way Hashem works. But what does that mean? What does that mean practically? What it means, Hashem doesn't look. Chas v'shalom. Hashem doesn't see that you're worshiping Avodah Zarah. Hashem doesn't see that you're struggling. Hashem doesn't see that, or speaking about every one of us, Hashem doesn't see that we do things wrong, that we do averes. Hashem doesn't see that. What do you mean, bedilug? He's not looking. He doesn't notice it. The answer is, Moshe Rabbeinu is telling Klal Yisrael that Hashem is letting us know a very, very important message. Hashem's telling you, I see it, but I have such a great love for you that it overcomes and it skips over all the steps. The love that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has for the Bnei Yisrael, for every Yid, for every one of you, for every one of us, that love is a love of dilug. That's a tremendous love where I'm willing to skip over all the natural order of the way human beings look at things. The first thing, and the first message that Hashem sent Moshe Rabbeinu to tell to Paroi was B'ni B'chayri Yisrael. Even in the Madrega that Bnei Yisrael were at that time, and they were on down in the 49 levels, Sharei Tumah, Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, send a message to Paroi. Let me let you know something from the outset. B'ni B'chayri Yisrael. These are my firstborn. These are my children. And just know that that's what they are to me. That's how great the love that I have for Klal Yisrael. And that alone, just knowing that, for Bnei Yisrael to know that, and if we all remember that, that's enough to lift us up, al kanfei nisharim, to let us not take baby steps, to let us go up and fly, and understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has such a great love for us that He's kaviyachol willing to look away. And we all know, every one of you could think about it for a moment. When you really love somebody, when you feel close to somebody, you admire them and you love them, you're so willing to look away from things that normally you wouldn't look away from in other people that are just someone who's a casual acquaintance of yours. You may not look away, but somebody that you love, and the more you love a person, so you see the big picture. You see what they are inside. You see what they really are. And that's what Hashem's telling us, a very, very practical lesson. The same way you look away from the people that you love, you look away from their deficiencies, from their seeming things that they might do wrong. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, that is the way I am with you too. And that is the way we all have to approach Pesach. That we are at a time now in Chodesh Nisan, we're at a time when we come close to Pesach, and we want to improve, we want to be better, we want to do so many things right. We're at a time now where we can skip some steps. It's in the air. That's what Pesach is built around. Pesach, Hashem skipped. That's what we call it, Pesach. We don't call it Chag HaMatzos. We, as people, we call it Pesach. And the first night of Pesach is the most special night of all. First night of Pesach, Hashem is advocating for us, and He's doing it for us, whatever matzav we might be in, and whatever place we're in, whether we had time before Pesach to make all the improvements we need to do, or whether we didn't have the time. Hashem, I want to. It's in my heart. I want to do it. Hashem looks at you, and Hashem, in His great love for every single one of us, and every one of you, Hashem looks at you and says, we could skip over. We don't have to do the regular order. We can skip over. I believe in you. I believe that you're going to get better, and I believe that you're going to be much better. Hashem comes on the Seder night. Hashem comes in the time of Pesach, and He reaches for that light, the light that He wants to shine on us, the light that He wants to shine on Klal Yisrael. Hashem reaches for that and overwhelms the Satan, overwhelms the world with that great light. And Hashem tells us, I'm skipping steps for you. Pesach is that time of the year, the time to make our move, the time to understand that the love that comes down from HaKadosh Baruch Hu for every one of you at this time of the year is Ein L'Shayr. You can't estimate, you can't even think about it. So don't think about it. Think about the idea, think about the concept. Just know that you don't have to be there. You don't have to make everything perfect before Pesach. Make those first moves. Learn some things about Pesach. Agree in your mind that you're going to let Pesach go into you, and you're going to improve, and you're going to do things. Hashem will shine that great light and skip over for every one of you. And Amir Hashem, we're going to try to continue with some more good lessons from the Nesivos Shalom. But what a beautiful lesson from the Nesivos Shalom this is. What Pesach is, and it is this way every single year when we come to Pesach time.